Hey guys, it is currently 9:25 in the morning on October 9th, and I am just getting ready to get away from the computer, brush my teeth, and go to bed. This morning I have only worked on Untitled Mysteries because after that the next thing to work on is editing, and I didn't want to throw off my app too much, so I decided to just spend all morning on Untitled Mysteries and then work on finishing this edit after I wake up. So I actually made some progress this morning despite being cold and in pain and exhausted, but I was hoping that if I was working on writing all morning, I wouldn't take a nap out there, and I was hoping that maybe if I don't take a nap out there, I'll fall asleep on time and maybe I won't be as exhausted, but I don't know. Still sore, still tired, so we'll see what happens. And of course, it's been several hours since my big dog went outside and she refuses to go outside again, and since I'm going to bed in 4 minutes, she'll most definitely wake me up anytime between, let's say 10 and noon. She's an asshole. But in Untitled Mysteries, I wrote 4,483 words. Things have gone surprisingly well, which is great. Like I say, Untitled Mysteries is the least stressful thing I work on because no one else is ever going to see those scenes. People might see variations of them eventually in my other books, but no one sees those scenes ever. No one's ever going to see the first drafts of them. No one's ever going to... It's just me. So it's very stress-free for me, which is great. And I usually accomplish a lot on it when I actually work on it. But sometimes I don't because I feel guilty about it, so, you know. But the plan is set my alarm for 2:30. That's what time I will wake up if my dog doesn't wake me up beforehand. And if she does wake me up beforehand, depending on how I feel when she wakes me up, because I'm expecting it, I'll just stay up and take a nap later on. Because what the hell else am I gonna do, right? But once I wake up, I'm going to work on this edit, finish that, and then move on to other stuff like Killer in Training Book 2, Beatings from a Butcher, FTZ, Voice of the Wild Places Z, Fallen Blues, which I have a thing to talk about later on today if I reach that book, but I don't want to talk about the thing until I reach it, so we'll see what happens. But the game plan is, at the very least, to work on editing once I wake up, and hopefully after that hit the writing goal for the day, which is just the 5.5 thousand. Although, I should write at least 5.7 thousand today, which is what we're aiming for if things go super well, but we'll see. I managed to push through this morning with what I accomplished on Untitled Mysteries, but I don't know if we'll luck out on that again. We'll see. But regardless, I'm going to go brush my teeth and hopefully get at least a few hours in before my dog wakes me up so she can go outside, and I will see you guys with an editing update sometime after I wake up. Hey guys, so after letting the dogs in and out, it is 2:50 p.m. Alarm went off at 2:30, I woke up to it, and the dog didn't wake me up beforehand. And if she tried, I slept through it because I was exhausted. So, I'm going to go find something to eat, because since I'm actually awake at this time, I do need to eat lunch. And then after that, I will come back here and start on editing. I have 1,841 words left in this document. So I'm going to edit until all of those are done. And then after that, move back on to writing. But I'm going to start with food, and then editing, and then I will see you guys with an update for that. Alrighty, while my iPad is uploading videos to Google Photos, you get a quick from my phone update. I finished editing the rest of the 3,000 words for my client here. That was the 1,841. And now I'm going to move back to writing. That would be book 2 of the Killer in Training series, which is still untitled, but I am going to stand up, walk around, and put my compression braces on my knees first because my knees are absolutely killing me. I've made it the last day or two without braces on, which has been great because there was a period of time where I had them on basically 24/7 except for when I showered. So if nothing else, some of the pain on my knees was easing up, but they're very sore at the moment and very tired. So I'm going to open up Killer in Training before I leave the room, and then go get my braces and walk around for a little bit, and then we'll go from there. I'm not expecting to work on Killer in Training super long, especially since it's not one of the books that I'm trying to finish this month in preparation for Nano, but we'll see what happens, and I'll give you guys an update when my iPad is done uploading videos. So when that happens, it will probably be an update on several books, but I'll see you then. Alrighty, it is 10:44 p.m. and I haven't accomplished a lot since the last time I saw you. I've only worked on Untitled Killer in Training Book 2 and Beatings from Butcher. The Killer in Training entry was 292 words, and that was at 5:09 p.m. And I haven't accomplished much since then. I was watching TV from around 7 to 9, I think, give or take. And then also at about 7:30, I passed out in the chair for like 20 minutes. I don't remember falling asleep, but I remember absolutely nothing that was on the TV, and I remember coming to. But exhaustion hit me like a ton of bricks, just all of a sudden there, and I've been tired since, but I don't want to go to sleep this early in the day. If I have to take a nap, I prefer it to be after I get to the hours in the morning where I can't eat or drink anything. Because if I absolutely have to take a nap, I prefer it to be during the hours where I can't eat or drink, rather than take one right before and then have to stay awake through those hours and so on and so forth. But, doing my best. But with Beatings from a Butcher, I wrote 444 words, and that was about 180 words ago, let's say. I've probably written a little under 200 words since then, but I haven't recorded that yet. But things have been slow, because outside of being tired again and exhausted, even though I felt okay after I woke up, because I slept like the perfect amount of time for me, and I felt great when I woke up, but I no longer feel great. But outside of that, all of my joint pain came back like instantly. I'm wearing my knee braces again. My knuckles have been sore all day. I've been using this today. It's an Epsom salt rub. It feels good, if nothing else. But I've put that on all of my joints today, a couple times, if nothing else, and it's sort of helped, but it's been on my knuckles and my back and my shoulders and my hips, and everything hurts. Which, you know, I'm used to managing, but it still sucks, and it doesn't make it hurt less. It doesn't make it more tolerable. It's just something that I'm used to being forced to deal with. I've massaged all my joints multiple times today, but that's not helping too much. I'm just doing what I can. And then on top of that, I'm sure you can maybe hear it, but it's been storming. It's raining. There's thunder every now and then. The little dog barks, and sometimes in between the thunder, he whimpers and whines the whole time instead, which is new. He normally doesn't do that, but he wants to cuddle during the rain, and I can't really just let him cuddle in here, because it would be dangerous for him if the big dog came in here while he was just sitting on my lap. So, working on it. But I've written altogether 5,219 words today, and I need about another, let's say, close to 500 if I want to meet the extended goal, since I'm behind for the day. I need to write 9,916 today if I want to meet the entire goal and catch up to where I should be, but we all know that's not going to happen. Since it's 10:48 p.m. But I'm doing what I can. I'm going to continue working on Beatings from Butcher at the very least until 11, until I move out into the living room, and see how much progress I can make there. I'm hoping that I can meet the goal. I'm hoping that just one day this month that I can hit the damn goal. But we'll see. So far this month has been kicking my ass, with pain and exhaustion and whatnot. Most of my characters are talking, but it's just I can't keep up with them. But I'm doing what I can. I still have Man of Darkness stuff that I need to do at some point this week for the paperback copies and finalize some stuff with those and whatnot, but I have things to do, and when, we're going to assume it's my thyroid and that it's nothing else terrible. When my thyroid kicks my ass like this, and comes out of nowhere, it was manageable last month. But when it just comes out of nowhere like that, it's very jarring to everything. But I am doing what I can. So, I'm going to go make coffee because I'm officially out of the milk I was drinking. So I'm going to go make coffee and then come back here, work on Beatings from Butcher for like the next 10 minutes maybe, give or take. Move all my stuff out into the living room and then work on, I don't know, potentially that, potentially something else. But either way, I'll see you guys with another update at some point, either before midnight or shortly thereafter. Hey guys, it is 8:06 in the morning on October 10th, and I apologize in advance if you hear my dog having a meltdown in the background. It's on and off, but he doesn't like the rain today. Normally he only throws a hissy fit if there's thunder, but today he doesn't like the rain either, and he hasn't all morning. But thought I would come in and give you an update if nothing else. So, admittedly I haven't accomplished much this morning. I was doing my best to stay awake until 1:47, which is when I can't eat or drink anything anymore. But I fell asleep out in my chair in the middle of gaming, which I was doing to keep my brain awake, so it clearly didn't work. And I fell asleep for like 20 minutes, I think, give or take. And then woke up, did some more gaming, hoped that I would stay awake, drank some more coffee just that way I could get something else in my system. Because although I was incredibly hungry at that point, I had like 4 minutes until 1:47, so I was totally boned either way. So then I accomplished next to nothing the whole 3 hours that I can't eat or drink anything because I was hungry. And then after that, I worked on Beatings from a Butcher. And there I wrote 438 words, which isn't bad, and I broke 10,000 words on that book. FTZ, I wrote 84 words, and Voice of the Wild Places Z, I wrote 302, which also isn't bad, especially since they aren't doing any actual adventuring yet, which eventually will have to be cut down because if it ends up being an adventure novel, the adventure has to start sooner. I write character-driven stuff. Adventure isn't something I do, so I think I'll look through the Amazon genres at some point, eventually, and figure out where it best fits, because it's not an adventure novel, and I don't think I want it to be an adventure novel. I want it to just be like all of my other stuff that is a genre, but it's character-driven. And adventure, I mean, maybe adventure isn't as, like, dive right into it as I think it is, but I think most adventure readers would be sick of the research that they're also doing, which isn't like, I'm not writing down like all the research that I did for the book, but I am going through and marking down like the stuff that they think is super important. So like when they're looking at Fawcett's ring and they're waiting for the pictures to come in, or they're waiting for the maps to come in and stuff like that, that's all mentioned in the book. And I feel like if it was an adventure novel, I'd have to cut all that down, but I don't know if I'm mixing that up with action or what. But it feels like it would be too much if it was an adventure novel. But I don't know. I'll have to do some more digging into the adventure genre and people's opinions on it and stuff like that. But outside of that, the thing that I wanted to talk to you about yesterday, and the thing I was hoping to get to yesterday, was Fallen Blues. I love Amelia and I love Russell. They aren't dating. Just full disclosure. They are both detectives at the same station, but there is absolutely no romantic involvement between them, and there never will be. Just full disclosure. When I talk about those two characters, they are not romantically involved at all. They are friends. I like Fallen Blues. I like the thing they're working on. I like the ideas in that book. But I think it starts the series in the wrong place. I think. because with the case they're working on, Amelia isn't working the case. She is helping on the side, but she's not allowed to physically work on it because she's currently not allowed to be at work either for the next several days, which means that we don't see it from Russell's point of view either, who is working the case, because it's not like the Carver Baxter series where Russell is one of the main characters. Amelia is the main character. She's the point of view character. Occasionally we see something from Russell's point of view, so that way we can hear like a phone call or something, but it doesn't actively switch back and forth enough for us to actually see the casework, except for when he comes back to the house and shows Amelia the case folder. And that's not showing the casework, that's just showing the results of the work he's doing. Which means that our introduction to Amelia, the main character of the series, is her not being able to physically work the case. And again, although I do like the case, although I do like the stuff that's happening in that book, although I love Amelia and I love Russell and I've loved getting to know them despite how long it's taken to write these last 17,300 words, I think this book starts the series in the wrong place, and I think it doesn't work. So with that being said, I'm archiving Fallen Blues, and I will pick up book 1 of the Amelia Buchanan series when I know more. But for now, I'm just going to come over here on my app and press the archive button. I think that brings my work in progresses down to 10 books instead of 11. But yeah, I think it starts it in the wrong place. And if I ever change my mind, that's okay. I still have the document on Google Docs. I can always unarchive the thing, and whatever, we'll jump back into it. But for right now, I think it starts the series in the wrong place. And I had a very hard time when I first started writing Amelia's series, figuring out what the hell to start her series with in the first place. So I think that should have been my first indicator, but I was so excited to write a series with a female detective lead again. Hopefully one that I enjoyed, because my last female detective lead was Baker, and I cannot stand her. So I was excited to write another female lead detective that I actually enjoyed. Although I guess technically Ashley Jones was also a female lead detective, but I also don't like her, so point still stands. I was excited to get into it and to write a female detective lead that I enjoyed, and I think I let that just make me push forward, no matter how it felt writing the book, even though there were a lot of times where I was like, I don't think this is where this book belongs in the series. It doesn't make sense here to be introduced to Amelia where she can't even work the case that the book is about in her own series. So, I don't know. Maybe it will still be the same case when I rewrite the book, when I rewrite book 1. Maybe it will still be the same case, but she'll be working on it at the station. Maybe this time she won't be dismissed from work for a few days. Maybe this time her and Russell will work it on the side, but she'll like tag along supposedly doing her own stuff, but she's actually with Russell's, things like that. But for now, it's just the wrong place and time for the book, I think. But we'll see what happens. The good news is I get to continue writing Russell and Andrew and Amelia because Books and Badges is Russell's book. That's his romance. So I still get to see them and I still get to learn more about them, and maybe learning more about them will help me figure out what book 1 is actually supposed to be. But we'll see, and I'll give you guys an update when I know. But for now, I'm going to continue work with Pittman's Legend Valiant Fighter. Now that I have archived that, I can actually check my word count for the morning on this one so far. It looks like maybe around 500 words, which is surprising. 538. That's not bad at all. Broke 6,000 words on that one too. What did I say? 538. Okay. That means I need to go get my calculator so that way I can configure that into the thing that is keeping track of how many words I have to write to catch up to where I need to be, and all of that. But if I were attempting to meet 90,000 by the end of December, I would need to write 1,018 words in this one. And I think it's the book that I'm going to work on either until I meet that or until I go to bed at 9:30. whichever happens first. I imagine bedtime will happen first, but we'll see. Depends on how things go in this conversation that Jamal is having with Antonio. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I am going to go get my calculator and factor those 538 words in there so I don't forget to. And then I'm going to wash my face, and then whatever time I have left from then until 9:30 will be spent on Pittman's Legend, presumably, unless I speed demon type it. But I doubt it because I'm freezing cold and stiff and exhausted, so hooray. But I will see you guys with at least one more update before I go to bed, and if I have a guess, it will be the only other update before I go to sleep. But regardless, I will see you guys then with an update on Pittman's Legend. Hey guys, it is currently 9:14 in the morning, and I finished working on Pittman's Legend for the morning about 6 minutes ago. And altogether, I wrote 1,174 words, which is great. I broke 6,000 words in that document. Things are going well. The conversation between Jamal and Antonio went well, and I left off the scene when Jamal was having a conversation with, I believe his name is pronounced Raffaello, but as per usual, he's Italian, so that's my best guess. I never knew Lucchese was pronounced Lucchese based on the way that it's spelled, until I looked it up like months after I started doing research for the book. So it's one of those things where I've looked it up a couple times, but I've never specifically looked at the pronunciation, so Raffaello is my best guess. But he's the son of a deceased mob boss. Jamal taught him how to speak English, and Jamal's about the only person that he actually genuinely trusts enough to even attempt to speak English around on a consistent basis. And I really like him. I think he's adorable. But things are going well there, and that's great. Especially with how long all of the Jamal Pittman books have taken to write. I think this is the most consistently that I've worked on one in the previous 3. Which is good. I'm sure that at some point that'll die down and things will slow down again, but so far things are going pretty well in that book, which is awesome. Outside of that, I edited a Preptober video. Finally got to edit number 5. I've been having a lot of problems with Google Photos lately. I go to download a video and it tells me that it's still processing, even if it's been uploaded for like 3 hours or 4 or a day. And then it takes like 2 or 3 days to get it downloaded on my tablet. Sometimes I can like avoid that if I download it on the desktop, but I never think about it until after I shut the desktop off, so, you know. But day 5 has been edited. It is currently exporting. Once it exports, I'm going to start uploading it to YouTube, and then I'm going to go to bed. But when I wake up, which, if everything goes well, will be at 2:30, I'm going to start with the dealer, which is currently loaded here on the desktop, so I don't have to wait for it to load after I wake up, because it's about 170 pages at this point. But the game plan after I wake up is to work on the dealer, work on Initiate the Boys. Any books that get written on after that are bonuses, basically. If I get further than that, awesome. I'm in a ton of pain. Go figure, right? I'm cold, I'm stiff, my joints are exhausted, they're all sore and tender. I almost popped my jaw out of place when I was washing my face because I moved my face in the wrong way. So it's been super cool so far this morning. But because all of that, I'm not expecting to make a ton of progress today. I'm blown away that I wrote over 1,000 words in Pittman's Legend this morning. So my only plan is to work on the dealer and Initiate the Boys. And again, if I get further than that, incredible. But non-writing related, I would like to start the next Man of Darkness merch piece, and I would like to put the other 2 pieces of merch that I currently have for it up on the Redbubble store, so that way there is 3 pieces altogether up there currently. But we'll see how things go. It's been raining all morning, so the internet is relatively slow in comparison to normal. It's not terrible, and since I'm a relatively patient person, it's not the end of the world if it takes, you know, forever to upload it. But as with everything else, we'll see how things go. I am going to start uploading Preptober Day 5 because I just finished exporting. I'm going to brush my teeth, put my compression gloves on, and go to bed. I'm hoping that the compression gloves and wearing them overnight helps with my knuckles enough that I can accomplish something when I wake up, but we'll see. But that's all I've got for now, so I'll see you guys sometime after I wake up with an update on the dealer, and after that, we'll see where the rest of the day takes us. Alrighty, it is 11:01 p.m. and unsurprisingly things have been slow. Although I did wake up to my 2:30 alarm, I didn't actually get out of bed until closer to 4:30 because it was warm in my bed. And as soon as I pulled the covers back to get out and let the dogs out at 2:30, which I still did, all of my joints like immediately stiffened even more than they already were. So I crawled back into bed and stayed there until I couldn't stand it anymore. And then after that I didn't start writing for a very long time because I had other things that I needed to do on the computer first. One of them including logging back into the computer and waiting 15 minutes and then opening Chrome and waiting for my tabs to load again, because while I was asleep the computer updated itself without my permission. Again, it's updated itself 7 times in the last week, if not more. So I had to sign back in and open up all my stuff. I was just glad that I didn't have anything unsaved opened, or else I would have been boned. Generally I remember to save things before I leave the computer, but on occasion I don't expect it to turn off, so it's very good that I didn't have anything open. But I've only worked on the dealer and Initiate the Boys, and I only just started working on Initiate the Boys. But with the dealer I wrote 664 words out of the needed 48, so if nothing else, progress. And on Initiate the Boys I've written 170 out of the needed 490 for the day. So I'm going to close out of stuff in here. And then move out to the living room and see what else I can accomplish on Initiate the Boys. It generally takes me a good 10 to 15 minutes to move my stuff out into the living room because I take several trips, so that way I don't crush any notebooks, and so that way I don't hurt my wrists or my hands by carrying too many things at once. So I try to take it easy on myself. That's probably the easiest thing I do during the day because it's not very stressful on me. I'd rather walk back and forth a million times than carry all of my stuff out there at once and hurt myself. So it takes a little bit, but that's okay. I still have coffee, which is great. Means I don't have to make any. So I'll carry all my stuff in there, work on Initiate the Boys, see where things go. Sometimes it's easier to type on my tablet when it's not doing that thing where it delays anyway, because it's just a normal laptop keyboard, compared to the more raised keys of the desktop. It's not a mechanical keyboard by any means, thankfully, but the buttons are still kind of hard to press down, so some days it's almost too much. So I'm hoping that things go a little bit faster with Initiate the Boys once I get into the living room, but we'll see. And as per usual, I will give you guys an update before or shortly thereafter midnight.